It's been a while since we've seen my next guest. I'm a big fan of his. Tony will be appearing on A Night of 100 Stars. Do we have the list of the other 99 we might read? No, I don't suppose so. It's a 3-hour special. That's way too long. What? That's way too long. Oh, it's on this network. Oh,
it's a great special.
They should do 4 hours.
Yeah.
That airs right here on NBC. A big 3-hour show. It'll seem just like 4. That's on May 21st. Would you welcome Miss Tony Randall? Well, my. It has
Hello?
been a passel of years, hasn't it?
Since we've been together?
Just almost. I know what a passel is. It's a Midwest term. It's a passel of years.
Passel is a little pass in a mountain.
A passel. I thought that was a passette. You know what the guy told me who was out here, Mr. Kaufman, a moment ago? He says, I met Mr. Randall backstage, and he knows about frogs. And I said, that does not surprise me. Because you have a vast knowledge or a working knowledge of a lot of different subjects, don't you? Seriously.
My knowledge of frogs is mainly culinary.
Ah. But, you know, a family of 5 could eat off one of those legs for a long time.
A lot of people won't eat frogs.
I will. I'm not a fancier of frogs.
You don't like it?
Not really. It always says it tastes like chicken, right? It's always like people say
And
that.
chicken's better.
I think so, so I eat chicken.
Yeah.
I want something that tastes like chicken. Why should I eat a frog? Was that true?
Yes.
If you like chicken, why fool around with a frog?
That's right. You have a well-taken point there, no question about that.
It's well taken, it's just a point. But it's well taken or not well taken. Actually,
do you watch the commercials on your show?
Yes, why?
I don't believe you, the way you said it. That's why.
I watch them if I'm watching the show at home. I don't normally watch them while we're in the studio here.
No, you're busy.
Extremely.
Well, your first commercial tonight was the John Deere commercial.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
For the lawnmower.
Yes. And I hadn't seen it this year. But the one last year, do you remember it?
Gosh, I usually get brought up to date on these things. On the John Deere commercial, I just missed it this week.
Yeah.
What was it last year?
You were on the grounds of a convent. You remember that?
No.
Yes. And the Mother Superior stood near the camera talking, and in the background, a nun was mowing the lawn in her John Deere machine. And the Mother Superior said, since we've gotten this new John Deere power mower, Sister Peaceful can mow the lawn in the time it used to take 4 men to do it. And then she would, the sister in the back would drive up to the Mother Superior and say, Mother Superior, how long will this machine last? And the Mother Superior said, no man knows, only he does. That was a commercial.
You must be a very lonely person. You know, to spend your time.
That's the truth.
To spend your time just logging these memories in your... And that's what you do at night, just sit and look at commercials and then come up to somebody a year later and say, do you remember the John Deere commercial?
Yeah. Have
you have a very retentive mind, don't you?
Only for commercials. Have you seen the Metamucil one? Guys.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lady saying, I want to get caught on the bus.
That's right.
And hope that it doesn't kick in. Blah!
Yeah, that's the one I meant.
She says everything but that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. The guy says, what? Me take a laxative? Sure. And have it kick in on the bus? Yeah.
Not a pretty sight. Not a pretty sight.
Imagine on the crowded bus.
Oh, yes. Well, that's what they're trying to...
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to conjure up, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then one of them's a school teacher. Hope it doesn't happen in class.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, advertisers prey on your fears.
That's right.
That's why they sell products.
That's right.
You use a deodorant at all?
Yes.
Now, why do you use a deodorant?
I don't know, because I don't...
Most people, now I'm going to just... Most people do not need to use an underarm deodorant if you take... Oh, listen to me. If you bathe every day, regularly, normally only a few people have that problem. That's true. Oh, come on. You see, you've been brainwashed.
That's right.
You've been brainwashed. Or arm washed, one of the two. That's true. If you bathe and take normal hygienic procedures, it's not necessary to use a deodorant.
And some of us think that people smell better without it.
The smelly group up here, what do you think? How did we get on this subject anyway? Has it been 5 years since you've been here?
Oh,
Lord,
no.
yes. What?
No, a couple of years.
5 years.
Do you know how many times? No.
Somebody said it was 1985.
That's right. With you.
That would be 5 years. I know you were here when I was ill.
Yeah.
Off, you were here with Jay, I believe.
Do you know how many times I've been on?
I would guess. Let me take just a guess. 50.
95.
It only seems like 50. Is that right? First appearance, somebody told me, was in 1965.
When was that the year you started?
No, we started in 62.
No, I was on your first year. I think.
Okay.
I may be wrong.
No, you're probably right.
No,
you know
no.
these things.
No.
If you remember a John Deere commercial from a year ago, I'm not going to argue about the first year you were on the show. Got a new word for me tonight? Usually you come in, you are, what is a lover of words? What is there's a word for that? Who loves vocabulary, who loves words, the meaning of words?
Yes, I suppose logophilia. I don't know.
Bill Sapphire is a great to whatever it is, you know. Bill Sapphire
he's
writes a
amazing.
marvelous column.
Yes. I found a marvelous word for you.
All right.
And if you might be able to figure it out, but it's a cruel commentary on the human race that this word is obsolete.
Well, that's a clue then, obviously, right?
No.
Is that the word obsolete?
No.
Oh, I see. Damn. I had that one. What is the word?
It's easy to figure out what it means. Embellious.
Embellious. Well, the prefix is em or I.
I am, meaning not.
Impossible. Not bellious. Not bellicose?
That's right.
Not warlike.
Not warlike. And that word is obsolete. Doesn't that hurt?
Impellious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no need for that word in our civilization, not warlike.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes. Thank you.
What else is happening?
But you figured it out. Yes.
Well, if you get the prefix, sometimes that helps. Non-im.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Bellious, it sounds like bellicose.
Yes.
Else.
Or embellic. Embellic or embellious.
Or embellicose, I suppose. Is there such a word?
Umbilicose?
Embellicose.
No.
I see. You couldn't say embellicose.
I suppose you could.
But you'd be wrong.
It wouldn't matter since it's
Sounds like
obsolete.
fiction, but it would be wrong. Too far back.
You asked me what...
Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. You never know. You never change. You know, you're remarkable. You always look the same.
So do you.
You never seem to age.
No, I don't.
You really don't age?
No.
Are you going to pull a Dorian Gray someday and all of a sudden just overnight?
No. No, I have no such intention whatsoever. You asked me what I'm up to.
I thought you went into a seance, sir, just for a moment. Yeah. Well, I knew you were on playing on Broadway.
I was on Broadway, yes.
Not in Madam Butterfly.
M. Butterfly.
M. Butterfly.
Oh, that closed, but that was...
I understand you were marvelous.
Well, it's not for me to say. But,
were you marvelous?
I don't know. I really don't know. I do know it was the best I've ever been in my whole life.
Well, and that's...
Well, actors, that does happen. An actor finds a role that just suits him. It just was...
But you've had great
beautiful
success in a lot of mediums. Radio, motion pictures, theater, and television. That in itself is remarkable.
Yes.
Not many people get to work all of those different, what is the word I want, media, venues.
Did you work much in radio?
No. I was a disc jockey, but I did not do the kind of stuff you did where you actually appeared on dramas and serial shows and that type of thing, playing various characters. No.
Yeah.
But those days are gone. You don't hear that stuff anymore. Although some of the stations here in California will play from time to time the early radio shows.
I know it.
The late 30s
and we
40s.
don't, I'm on them. And we don't get any royalties.
Well, I know those now. Yeah.
I was on a show called I Love a Mystery.
I remember it.
Yeah, and that's on all the time on these radio stations.
You get a kick out of listening to them, though?
No.
Really?
No, I didn't. I never pursued.
You don't live in the past, huh?
No, not a bit. But in radio, There was a firm in New York named Air Features. Do you remember that name?
No, I do not.
Well, they had 17 soap operas on. And
They used to be written, a lot of them, by one couple. You remember their names? That used to write? Like
Irma Phillips.
It was a team. And Freddie, you remember? Freddie was there when they only had drums. What? The only method of communication was you'd hit drums, and Freddie...
Well, if you worked for this firm, you might work on all 17 of their soap operas.
And you run from one studio?
Yes, and you could make a good living just from that. But if any one of their directors didn't like you, then you were fired from all their shows.
Oh, that's...
Yeah. And they had a director named Martha Atwell, and I'm sure many of my contemporaries will remember her. And she was a difficult and frightening woman.
Yeah.
And so you rehearsed for an hour. That's all.
Right.
And she would sit looking at the clock, and as it ticked to the moment when you started, she'd say, "Page 1." She wouldn't look at you as you came into the studio. If you came in 1 second after that tick, next day someone else was playing your part.
Wow.
You were out.
And you were a young actor at the time.
Yeah, you were. So she terrified people. And I had a friend, Cliff Carpenter, and he acted on all these shows. And then he was drafted, and within 6 weeks of being drafted, he was in combat. That's unusual, but
Right.
it happened. And he was in the Battle of the Bulge. And he was in a foxhole. And it was filling up with water. And enemy tanks were going right over his head. And the sergeant kept yelling, "Don't fall asleep!" And you can, no matter the fact that war is going on around you, after 24 hours,
Right.
you'll fall asleep.
Yeah.
And the guy kept yelling, "Don't fall asleep!" But he fell asleep. And he woke up with a screaming nightmare. He dreamed he was late for a Martha Atwell.
That's a tough lady. That's funny. We got to pause. We'll be back. Stay where you are.